Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this second edition of our customer talks, today with Tata Consultancy Services. Before we begin, I would like first to tell you about a few housekeeping questions. This webinar is recorded and you will get the access to the replay video in a couple of days. All the participants are on mute automatically, but you are able to ask all your questions with the chat panel. So please don't hesitate to ask them throughout the webinar. And there will be a 15 minutes full Q&A session at the end for all the questions to be taken. So please stay with us until the end. So now that this has been said, I will leave the floor to Gaël.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Alice. Welcome to this webinar. So as Alice said, it's a new series that we launched this year, and we wanted to give the floor to our customers and to partners to share with you their experience around machine translation. So we wanted to highlight what challenges has machine translation addressed, how was the project built, what were the keys to its success, what are the benefits, and what are the opportunities ahead. So today, I am pleased to welcome Deepesh Bakhru, Associate General Manager at Tata Consulting Services. Hello, Deepesh, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Gail. First of all, I want to wish you and Alice and all the women participants on the webinar a very happy Women's Day. And thank you for having me to talk to you today.
Thank you for accepting our invitation and sharing with the participants some of your expertise and experience around machine translation. So what I suggest before getting to the heart of the subject, could you please introduce Tata Consulting Services and also your role in the company?
Sure. So Tata Consulting Services, or TCS, is one of the largest IT providers in the world. We employ over 500,000 people globally. Within Europe also, we are pretty strong. We service about 350 plus customers with about 15,000 people based in Europe and additional about 50,000 staff working for us from our delivery centers offshore. I represent the cognitive business operations unit of the organization, and I'm responsible for sales and solution for our banking and insurance customers in Europe. And this was erstwhile known as BPO, as most of you would know it, and I'm based in Netherlands, Amsterdam. We have partnered with Sistron for a couple of projects in the last few years, and I'm here to share my experience working with Sistron with all of you.
Good, thank you. And could you also explain to the audience what kind of services do you deliver to your customers, especially in the financial services or insurance space?
Sure. So while our core job is IT, as I said, I'm part of the CBO organization, wherein we are servicing or doing business process services for our BFSI clients. For example, when we are servicing banking customers, we do a wide range of services, right from customer onboarding to KYC to payments processing, complex functions like trade finance processing. For capital markets, we do trade settlements, reconciliation, processing corporate actions. So those kind of services for the banking customers. For insurance customers also, we do a wide range of end-to-end services, right from customer onboarding to maintenance requests to claims processing, handling complaints, and so on and so forth. Besides that, we have some common functionalities like, for example, finance functions, wherein we do invoice processing, general accounting, cash applications for both banking and insurance customers. So a broad spectrum of business process services is what we do.
Okay, very clear. And so could you also tell us why translation is so important for TCS operations?
Sure. So translation is quite critical to our business because our delivery centers are not always based out of the customer location or the country. For example, we have large delivery centers in Hungary, India, Ireland, which are large global delivery service centers, which we use to service our customers in Europe. And not all our staff speak the European languages. I mean, obviously, we have people where we can scale up with some limited language capabilities, for example, French or German speaking people. But the challenge is always marrying the business skills, like for example, you have underwriting skills or claims processing skills, and with the language skills. It's always very difficult to get a combination of those two. And our employees need to read and write in the local European language to process client requests or the documents or respond to a query. So that way, language is extremely critical to our operations.
Okay, very clear. Oh, sorry. And so before implementing MT solution and AI-based translation, what challenges were you facing?
We were always able to hire limited number of people with the right skill set and the language combination and the language expertise. Like for example, I said, a Dutch-speaking underwriter or French-speaking insurance claims handler. But we had limitations to what we could scale up. It's not easy to get the right combination of the business process skills as well as the language expertise in any particular stuff. And because of the niche requirements of language and business skills, these staff are always very difficult to get. They have higher salary expectations. There's always propensity for higher attrition because these staff are always in higher demand. For simpler processes, like for example, payments processes, we were always able to train our associates in the language specific requirements for the business. So because the payment forms are fairly straightforward, simple, like a SEPA payments form, those can be trained. But this has limitations when it comes to doing complex business processes. Like for example, for corporate banking customers, we have to review annual reports, we have to review articles of association. In case of individuals, our associates have to read valuation reports when we're doing a mortgage transaction. We have to review or read death certificates and interpret the contents of it when an insurance agent is handling a claims process. And some of these documents are quite complex, quite lengthy. Some run into even hundreds of pages. So having that kind of skill set is always very difficult. And to scale up at a large scale, the way we operate, we wanted some other solutions as well.
Okay, understood. And so, what was the why you launched a machine translation project? What was the trigger to do so?
So actually, we received a request from one of our Dutch clients, and they wanted us to do some complex transaction reviews for their commercial banking customers. And this was a large program, and we needed to onboard a few hundred staff with the right skill sets with the language aptitude. And these skill sets are extremely difficult to get even in the Dutch markets. It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's a complex function. And while we have these kind of skill sets or the domain understanding in our delivery centers outside of Europe, but we had the challenge of language. I mean, these staff don't speak Dutch or read or write Dutch, so we had to find an alternative solution to deliver this program. So what we did was we first went to the market. We found out the top few tools. We did a demo with few of the translation tools. There are few available in the market. Sistran came across most promising when we had the initial demos and the initial conversations and the initial output. So we moved quickly with Sistran to evaluate the viability of the tool. We did a pilot with Sistran. We fed in a few hundred documents into the tool. We evaluated the output to see if the translation is making sense for the analyst to review the documents which I just spoke about. And once we were a little more convinced that okay, this is working all right, we also invited our Dutch customers to see the output, and they reviewed the original document and the translated output. There were some grammatical issues, some sentence formation issues here and there, but the essence and the information which the analyst needs to capture was getting captured rightly. So to process a transaction, if we need to understand the background of directors, what is the source of funds, what is the organizational structure, those kind of information was captured to our satisfaction. And then we move forward with a more of a production phase with Sistran and signed a longer term contract. Just to give an example, what kind of documents we read, for example, when it comes to partnership agreement, our associates need to review the entire partnership agreement, look at the equity of the partners, check if the partners are active or dormant. They have to, and some of the documents are articles of association or AOA. where we have to review the shareholding pattern, the business activities, again the organizational structure. So a lot of information needs to be captured from these documents, and it's fairly complex transaction processing.
Okay, good, very clear. Thank you. And okay, so it was the beginning of the project for this specific customer. And at that time, what was your main selection criteria? So you talk about several things, but could you recap what was really important for you in the choice?
So full scale, I think we wanted something which could be deployed quickly. We didn't want to spend months on implementation, testing, and those things. We got really crunched with the timelines we had with the bank and the regulators. We wanted a tool or a solution which was user friendly, ease of use, because our analysts is already working on multiple applications. They're looking at the bank's core platform, they're looking at the workflow, they are sourcing information from chambers of commerce, there are other sources. So already they have a complex mix of applications. So we wanted a tool which was light, something which could be an enabling tool or support to them rather than adding to the complexity of the reviews which analysts are already going through. We wanted the quality of output to be quite good because we are dealing in financial services, so it's of quite paramount importance. And last but not the least, in fact, the most important, we wanted a tool which was GDPR compliant and which meets the European and data protection laws, because that's kind of mandatory in our business. We can't do without that.
Of course, for this kind of customers, it's mandatory. Okay, good. And so after this first project, could you perhaps share with the audience other use cases you had with the solution?
So after this project was successful, we shared our stories within our organization, and interestingly, we got one more request from a Nordic-based insurance company where they wanted our insurance analysts to perform back office functions like policy administration, claims processing, and this was in languages like Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, and we needed to again review a lot of documents like customer onboarding forms, claim forms. We used to get emails or letters or inquiries in Swedish, Danish language, and we needed to respond to these queries or process a transaction. So again, fairly niche language skill sets, not easily available. Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, these are very niche languages you get across the globe. And when we started the program, again, we felt initially our accuracy was a bit low. For example, the tool was translating proper nouns, like for example, names of people or names of rivers. So sometimes the analysts were a bit confused what is happening. We started sharing our observation with Systran, the original text and the translated text and the inaccuracies, whatever was popping up. And Systran used it to build the translation memory at the back end. So because Systran has a neural learning ability, we were always the AI tool or the machine learning was always there, which was evolving. And we also had the option to build custom dictionaries at our end. So it was kind of a journey. And initially, I would say we started off with the translation quality of about 65% or so. And gradually over a few months with the regular learning and the more documents we fed in and sharing the inputs with Systran, now we are at a stage where we have the translation output or quality at about 90% plus, which works well in our case for our business.
Okay, good. Very interesting to see that the tool needs to learn and some time to be at the maximum of his quality. Yeah. Okay, good.
If I may just add a couple of things, what I also liked about Systran was like when we translated our document, like for example, a bank statement or a notarized affidavit or some of those documents, the tool translated the document while keeping the structural integrity of the document intact. Yeah. What I mean by that is when a bank statement is converted or translated, the logo of the bank is up there, the seals or official seals are replicated, the color of the document is replicated, the look and feel is very similar. So agents had a good, when the analyst is reviewing a document, he gets a very good look and feel about what he's reviewing. It's not just on a plain piece of white paper where he sees something. And this works for a good range of documents, right, from JPGs, PDFs, Word, and other file formats. And I also like the custom dictionary feature which you have, because once we deliver a project for a particular customer, we can replicate the learnings from that from the particular project to other projects as well, without any breach of client confidentiality, because it's the learning tool or the algorithm which keeps getting built on. And if we are doing a project with or a similar customer using similar jargons or similar documents, I think it really helps us fasten the pace of learning for the next project.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Thank you. Okay, and so you said before that it was very important that the tool was user-friendly. And so can you tell us how was the solution adopted? And perhaps also what were the first results, concrete results you can share?
So we opted for a cloud-based solution with a web interface. I know Sistran has a lot of options of on-prem deployment and other things, but we went for a private cloud-based solution. And the tool itself, I think it's quite intuitive. It's quite user-friendly. So it took only a few hours of training for our staff to get comfortable with it. We also have an admin user who is keeping track of the custom dictionaries and any inaccuracies which pop up, and then he shares with Sistran through a regular governance forum. And then we are able to build on and improve the tool as we go along. As a result, I feel we are no longer constrained with a location or a country to deliver some of our services. So we have to worry about the business or the domain skills, of course, but we don't have to worry about the language skills, because that is kind of taken care by Sistran to a large extent. So that way I see Sistran as an enabling tool. The second question is more about improvements. Improvements, I would say, I think Sistran works quite well when we are reading documents and interpreting the text or emails. So it works quite well in that sense. I feel where it falls short is when we are trying to create an output, like a report or a legal document, something which needs to be very precise. I feel there are grammatical issues which pop up. There are sentence construction issues which pop up. Occasionally, the essence of the text is lost. So that's where we have to put a manual linguistic expert to manually review the output of Sistran. It helps his job because he doesn't have to translate word by word the entire text. So he gets an output, but he still needs to review when we're creating reports. So I feel there we could improve the tool. And we have regular governance with Sistran where we are sharing the output, and I think it's a continuous dialogue, and we are both working towards.
So there is the need to exchange with the team to improve the solution. So as you really well explained, is that it's not at the first step, it's not perfect, and we have to improve with using the tool. And also because depending on the use case of what you want to translate or the usage, you can't say that MT will be perfect. So you need perhaps some human post editing, and it's fine because we have many customers that need to have translators after the MT process, really depending on what you expect on the output quality, right? Okay, good. And so the next step for you after this first experience with the MT and these customers you serve, what would be the next step for you?
So ideally, we would like to, Gail, we would like to expand our collaboration with Sistran, take this solution to more customers in more countries and more industries. We also want to continue working on deeper improvement of the quality things we spoke about. I mean, there is always scope of improvement. We are at 90%. There is always scope to do much better for our customers. And we are also in early stages of talking about deploying Sistran for web chat services. So more real-time query resolution for our customers. If you can do that, that's the next stage we want to experiment with another project.
Okay, cool. So we have work to do together. More work. It's good. It's not the end. We have to do better and better. Okay, great. Thank you. And as we have an audience and perhaps people that are thinking about putting in place a machine translation project, would you be what advice could you tell them, give them if they want to start such a project?
I can think of a couple of things, Gil. First, I would say the accuracy of the tool will not be 100%. I think we spoke about that. It won't be 100% from day one. So that is an expectation everyone should have. The engine needs to learn, improve to the business context which you are using it for. So it's a journey. but
it's not a
it
magic tool,
adopts.
right?
Sorry?
It's not a magic tool. It's not a magic tool, right?
It's not a magic. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, but we get the right support from Systron, so that's good. So that is a constant dialogue. There's a governance, as I said. The tool has its own learning ability, so you can get up there. So that's a slight learning curve is there. Second thing I would say is a lot of organizations will face some internal questions or challenges posted by them. For example, the legal teams, the compliance teams, the data privacy teams, because whenever you're sending out information from your environment to a tool or anything hosted, there are a lot of questions which come from privacy office and a lot of questions around data protection. And I feel Systron has adequate controls, certifications, and framework, but just that it requires, all organizations require some convincing when we're deploying some new tool in their environment. So
Yeah.
that journey they should envisage happening.
Okay, great. Thank you, Deepesh, for all this shared information and experience, because I think it's very interesting to have your feedbacks on this. So thank you. And I think we have some questions now. So we are going to see what are the questions, and we will answer live. The first question is, did you use Systron for understanding purpose only, or did you use Systron for final translation, alternative to manual translation?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again, Gil?
Yeah, did you use Systron for understanding purpose only, or did you use Systron also for final translation, so really alternative to human translation, for example?
So Systron we use at multiple stages. So first is obviously the interpretation of documents, customer request. We get requests from multiple sources, like for example, emails or letters or documents. So our analyst, when he's processing a transaction, he needs to read and understand what the output is. So that's the first leg of translation. And once he has understood, interpreted, and performed a transaction, then sometimes we have to respond back to the with a response to the end customer. So again, there is a second leg of translation which is required. And second is the leg where I feel sometimes we need a little bit of oversight from a manual or a human specialist. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but the first leg works.
So the answer is both. But when you need only for understanding, it no need to post editor, because the understanding is okay with empty only. And when you need to produce the document and to send it to a customer and to be perfect in terms of quality, you use empty, but with a post editing, human post editing after that, and it's fine. And it's the main ways people do with empty. Okay, good. Other question: have you trained an engine for your specific use, or are you using the generic engine?
So I think Systron has industry-specific engines. So for example, they have one for banking and insurance industry and something for, I think, life sciences and some other things, which probably you are better aware of. But we use the initial module of which is specific to our industry. But again, that tool will not be 100% from day one, as I said. There are some limitations. Obviously, it understands the basic jargons within the financial services industry, but there are always certain nuances, certain specific documents which we receive, which we need to process, and that gets built over a period of time. But yes, there are industry-specific language.
Perhaps yes, I can add some information here. So at Systron, we have different level of translation model. So we have the generic ones, meaning that it's the language itself generic model, so no specialization here. Then we offer in our solution and use it for your customer some features with custom dictionaries. So the customer could add some glossaries, some terminology. So there are words that are very specific and that has to be translated exactly in this sense. And then we also have another level of specialization, what we call training, neural training, because it's AI. So we take the data of the customers and we retrain the engine. So we have the generic basis, and then we retrain the engine with this specific data. So it could be finance, as you said, it could be very specific customer data, and we provide a specialized engine. And what we did also in our catalog, we decided to provide some on the shell pre-trained engine. So we have some for finance, for example, for IT, for different area, industry. We choose some industry that are quite common, and we legal also, and we so that our customers can directly take this in-domain models and use them directly, or they want to train that we train or to train themselves, and so but in that case they need to have some data. So it's not always the case. So that's why we have really all these levels of customization capabilities. Other question: improvement from 65 to 90%. How did you perform the test? What was the methodology?
So we rely on our analysts to actually give us the output. We keep track of how many documents are fed in and how many are accurate, or how many we had a challenge and we had to involve a manual or linguist specialist. So we keep a track of the accuracy in that manner. And as I said, a couple of ways how we have improved is obviously feeding it back as any inaccuracies back to Systran, which you feed back into the engine, and also building custom dictionaries on top of it. So a couple of mechanisms how we have built and gone about increasing the accuracy to where we are right now.
Good. And so next question. Do you have a demo of this tool on this session? No, sorry. This session is really about sharing experience. It's not a product webinar, but we will be very happy to organize that for you. So Binoy, that's right. Okay, I will be pleased to organize that for you, and of course to demonstrate the tool with the different tools we have. So it's really easy to organize. Other question, Deepesh, have you combined Systran with a CAT tool? If yes, what does that offer you? Do you know CAT tool? So CAT tool, it's the tool for, for translators. So translators can use CAT tool or TMS. Also, we also call that TMS, Translation Management System. It's tool for translators, so help them to organize their translation project. And sometimes, many times, they have the ability to connect this tool to MT to accelerate, of course, their work and so on. But on your side, I think you didn't use this.
We haven't. We primarily work on the applications which our customers provide, like it's typically the banking applications or insurance policy administration system with their own workflows. And this is an additional tool which we brought in to perform our daily job. So.
Okay, I think it's a question for me. So can Systran be integrated with ticketing tools like BMC, Remedy, and ServiceNow? Do you have any success story about such integration? So yes. So it's very important, this question, because you can use Systran in different ways. So you can, of course, use the web interface very simply. You go to your internet tool and you use the tool, the interface, web interface, or you can also integrate Systran inside other third-party applications. So exactly, we have customers that use Remedy or ServiceNow, and so we plug directly our connectors from Systran to this tool. So it's really in a productive way. It's very efficient because people are in their tool as they are used to, and they at some point they just send a request to Systran server, and the translation is sent back to the tool they are using. So for ticketing, for example, as you said, for customer support, it's very, very efficient, and also in a CRM or other tool like that. So yes. Other question. Okay, could you please share your experience of using Systran for Asian languages such as Japanese? So on your side, I think it was just only European languages.
Yeah, we are focused on European languages for now. So as I said, we want to expand the relationship and take the solution to more customers because we have customers across the globe. That will
Yeah, of
next.
course, I can imagine that you have customers everywhere. So to answer the question, yes, we have we cover Asian languages also. Perhaps you know, but Sistron is a group. We have the headquarters here in Paris, and then we have some subsidiaries in the US and in Asia. So we have in Korea and in Japan. We have a subsidiary in Japan. So yes, we cover these languages. We have customers that use the Asian languages. They are quite good. And again, they can be specialized and so on. So we have one of our customers, GTI, so Japan Tobacco Industry, and we have others that use Asian languages. Chinese also is very used, and Korean, of course. And yes. Another question, did you translate small amount of text or huge documents? More than 50 pages. So on your side, sorry?
Both actually, yeah. So we get smaller text also when it comes to like simple questions or queries from customers. And as I said, we also have to review sometimes annual reports, which run into a few hundred pages for some customers. So that way we have a good experience across both small as well as large complex documents.
And as you said, it was interesting to notice that the layout is keeping, because we have, even if it's PDF, we have some OCR integrated in our solution, so you can keep the layout. If the PDF is correct, is well done, we have a really good result to keep the layout and so on. And of course, for the words, Excel and so on. And also perhaps it could be interesting for the audience to know that we can also have Sistron directly from your Office suite. So meaning if you are in Word or in Excel or in PowerPoint, you can have a Sistron apps directly in your Office application. So it's a facility to use the tool.
Like a plugin, yeah.
Yeah. Alors, okay, so contacts, yes, we will give you some contacts if you need. Gael, could you please explain why a longer text has a lower accuracy than a shorter text? It loses its sense through the translation. I disagree with that. For me, it's the opposite. So, but we can discuss that deeper, Jelena. But for me, because it's linked to the neural technology. So neural technology is very good when you have a context. So if you put one word in a translation tool as a Sistron, it won't be very good because they need a context. If you put a sentence, it will be better. If you put a paragraph, for me, it will be also better because you have the context. So perhaps you had an experience on that, so we can discuss further after the webinar with pleasure. But for me, it's more we need some materials to have the context. Is it okay for the questions? Many questions. I'm happy because it's not always the case. People sometimes are timid, shy. But here I am very pleased to see that people are interested, and of course we will share, of course, the replay with you, and we can, of course, have direct contacts if you need more information, if you need to see a demo, for example, as you ask. Of course, we are here to answer all of that. So if we are okay with the live question, I suggest to end this webinar, to thank you, Deepesh, for all this information you shared today. Thank you for your time. Very appreciated on our side, and I think the audience was also very interested by your testimony, so thank you for that. And so if you have any question you have on this slide, the contact you can use by email, and we will be very pleased to give you more information about this experience, but also around MT in general. Thank you all for attending this webinar, and all your questions, for your active participation. Thank you all. Have a very nice day and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Deepesh. Have a nice day.
You too.